Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live from our studios here at Kukumlimle's Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. In Kumasi, we're live on Love 99.5 FM and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Amenuveve FM in Apawu, Radio Wa in Wa, Radio Somali also in Wa, A1 Radio and Dreams FM in Bogatanga and Swiss FM in Ho. For our global audience, please download the My Joy Online app from the Play Store and App Store to listen live. In this edition, ahead of presentation of the 2022 budget, the Speaker of Parliament has warned he will not accept budgetary cut and erratic release of funds to the legislature.
Even Parliament itself, after the approval, will have to go cap in hand, begging the ministry for the release of its own budget estimates. There's no way that I would tolerate that. No.
We'll tell you how much government will be asking Parliament to approve as the Abosokai spare parts dealers kick against removal of the 50% benchmark value policy.
The effects of this scrap will be terrible for all Ghanaians, I must admit.
We have details of that as we build up to Budget 22. Now, lawyers for Medina MP Francis Xavier Susu says he is not running from court proceedings. Our Speaker of Parliament once again writes, saying the legislature or the legislator is still on parliamentary business abroad.
He will come back to Ghana. I've always insisted that Susu is not a coward.
Also, this afternoon, campaigners urge government to absorb the cost of treatment for all children which have cancers after government announced the inclusion of 4 childhood cancers on the NHIS list. Sports.
In sports, there have been questions surrounding whether Ghana will find a suitable replacement for Asamoah Gyan since he got into the twilight of his career. Richmond Boakye don't believe that he's the best striker to replace the former Sunderland man.
And all students of Keta Senior High School are hopeful winning this year's NSMQ will propel the building of a sea defense wall to save the area from being washed away by the sea.
We are pleading with those in authority to salvage the situation by giving the construction of the sea defense project the much needed priority. We wanted to make a statement, and I believe through this contest, the scoreline, we have been able to make that much needed statement.
Defending champions Presec Legon begin title defense in style as they outclassed Ghana SHS and St. Mary's boys with a shattering 71-point win to progress to the quarterfinals.
You know we are in for the trophy. Our aim is Christ and our outcome is Christ. See, watch out for the 7th seal. The 7th seal is here. The 7th seal is here.
We have that and more in this edition of the Midday News with me, Emefa Apawu. Please stay for details. Thanks for choosing us. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, will tomorrow request Parliament to approve budget estimate of 120 billion cedis for government spending in the 2022 fiscal year. That's according to Joy News sources close to the ministry. But ahead of that, the Speaker, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbing, is warning the legislature will under no circumstance accept a cut, an erratic release of its allocation. According to him, the situation where Parliament literally begs the executive for financial releases will not happen this time, warning any attempt to deny Parliament the required allocation will influence how the House cooperates with consideration of the estimate for the various sectors of the economy.
Even Parliament itself, after the approval, will have to go cap in hand, begging the ministry for the release of its own budget estimates. There's no way that I would tolerate that. No. We won't go to the Ministry of Finance to beg for the release of our estimates. It must be done, like it's done for others. And so, it's refreshing to note that the issue that we are raising here, particularly dealing with public goods and services for the citizenry, is so crucial at this time, where the people of Ghana are looking up to us for hope. I can tell you that the word politics or politician now sounds so sour in the mouth of many Ghanaians. They don't want to hear it at all. But we cannot do without it. what do we do to bring up the spirits of the people? So Parliament is the hope, and we cannot afford to fail the people of Ghana. So while these factors are very important, I think there's a need for us to go beyond that.
Speaker Alban being there ahead of the budget presentation tomorrow. Now, let's talk some figures, real figures, because Joy News has a copy of the budget guidelines for 2020. My colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio with some details of that. Elton, walk us through the figures and how much government will ask Parliament to approve.
So, Emefa, in terms of expenditure, government intends to spend an amount of 128.3 billion Ghana cedis in 2022, with expected revenue of 89.1 billion Ghana cedis, leaving a budget deficit of close to 40 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the question is, how is government going to fund this huge deficit? If you do further analysis of the data put out there by the ministry, government for the second time in a row is projecting to spend more on interest payment than compensation for employees. The projected amount for interest payment in 2022 will be 37.1 billion Ghana cedis, which is 3 times the amount the government intends to spend on capital expenditure. Now, the projected amount to be spent on interest payments and compensation alone will represent 91% of what government seeks to raise as revenue in 2022. That means that we'll be left with just 9% for other capital expenditure. The minister's projection simply means that in 2022, interest payment and compensation was slashed away more than 53% of what government plans to spend in the year 2022. Now, if you compare that to 2021, government requested 113.7 billion Ghana cedis. That is now is projected to jump to 128 billion Ghana cedis. But in all of this, compensation and interest payment alone is 91% of how much government will be requesting Parliament to approve tomorrow.
Interesting. But ahead of that also, we know that there's an expected 120% increase in road tolls amongst others, where GPRTU, others have already started, raising concerns about it. But Elton, tell us what happens then after the presentation of this budget.
So after the presentation, there will be 2 things Parliament will be required to do. First will be to approve the text, the budget itself. And then after that is done, that's where they go into the consideration of the estimates and approval of the appropriation before they will rise for the Christmas break. If they're unable to approve appropriation, the implication will be that from January 1st, government will have no money to spend. So they have 1 month to do it. And that is a concern for money, that they don't have enough time to go through all these figures, projections, proposals before they can come to a firm conclusion and say that this represents what government wants to spend. And we as parliamentarians are satisfied that we've met all the requirements before we approve of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Elton Brobe, there walking us through what to expect with the budget guidelines for 2022. And then also we've been hearing from the Speaker on this. But he's also unhappy that the House will have limited time to scrutinize the budget before rising.
Parliamentary oversight therefore seeks to ensure transparency and openness of executive activities, to hold the executive branch accountable, to provide them the financial accountability. And that is an area we are very weak after we pass the laws. In fact, the budget, the evolving best practice usually is now between 2 months, 3 months for Parliament to be able to scrutinize the budget properly and make sure that it is aligned with the national priorities. I look at the geopolitics, how much of the capital budget is going to this part of this region and that kind of thing, how much is going to women, children, the aged, how much, all those things. Is the duty of Parliament to go into these things before approval. Where is the manpower? Where is the time?
Well, that's the Speaker of Parliament. Let's stay a while longer on budget and its surrounding issues. We're hearing today from the Abosokai spare part dealers, and they're predicting a 25% increase in the price of general goods should there be any attempt by government to review or reverse the 50% and 30% benchmark value policy of some 32 selected items. Now, it follows the letter from the Ghana Revenue Authority to the Finance Minister calling for an outright reversal of that policy. Secretary of the dealers, Eric Anti, says the move will be bad for business.
I am worried, and I also believe that all Ghanaians should be worried, in the sense that the effects of this scrap will be terrible for all Ghanaians, I must admit, because as we all know, freights currently are very high. Freights are very high. The dollar, as we all know, is also going up. COVID has also hit us drastically, and we are now somehow recovering. So, not to even forget about, the high interest rates that probably the government is doing quite well and bringing it down. But even if at the state in which it is now, if we compare our interest rates on loans, it's still higher than what our neighboring countries are being offered to their citizens. So if this benchmark value, which is cushioning Ghanaian businessmen, cushioning Ghanaians because Ghanaians buy, and even the AGI, they are kind of lobbying for this whole thing to be scrapped.
Well, so that's Eric Anti there. He's the secretary of the Abosokai Spare Parts Dealers. I'll take you to the Ashanti region where Mona Lisa Frimpong of Love FM has been gauging the mood also in the capital ahead of the budget presentation.
Courageous woman, a flour dealer at Asafo, sits leisurely at her shop. The introduction of additional taxes and high freight charges are her biggest fears.
We're importing fleet, some charges and
freight charges are high. When our goods are imported, we are made to pay other different charges. How do we make profits?
But would they be chrome hano? Charges a gusuono, Yabejono, and on a Wusadi goo no manoso. Now watch it and son what me and Yabin when your profit.
Osei Kwating is worried the price hikes of flour have affected the purchasing power of bakers.
Those who are in the flour business, for instance, we're having a lot of challenges. This morning, today is 15th, we came and then we met an increment on certain goods. Sugar is going up by about 10 cedis, which is not normal. Other things are going up and we actually don't understand. So we're expecting that we reduce certain things for the bakers.
Ahead of the 2022 budget reading, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has cautioned the government against the introduction of new taxes. Anthony Opon is chairman of GUTA Ashanti.
GUTA is expecting no new taxes and, if possible, reduction of some of the taxes, especially on fuel, because the cost of transportation, the way it's escalating, is getting out of hand.
That's Mona Lisa Frimpong, Love FM reporter there, bringing us report from Kumasi ahead of the budget presentation. So I'll take you to Parliament now and see how ready the House is for tomorrow's presentation. Parliamentary correspondent Paka Wilson joins us with more on this. Paka, let's talk about preparations in Parliament.
Emefa, I can tell you that members of Parliament are set for tomorrow's budget presentation. Both the minority and minority are set the engagement over what is right and what is not right and what we should expect and what we should expect. Let me engage Steve more briefly. He's a member of the Finance Committee. Honorable, quickly, in just 2 minutes, what's the expectation for tomorrow's presentation?
Thank you very much. I think the expectations vary depending on, one's position along the social stratification. I think some are saying we should reduce taxes. Minority trying to take advantage of the fact that the pandemic has had adverse effects on our socio-economic position and that they are forcing government not to introduce any taxes and others are buying into it. But let's ask ourselves, is it really going to augur well for us?
So are we going to introduce new taxes? Is that what it is?
That one, my position, I cannot, but I am saying that now our debt to GDP is going up. We all know it's because of the productivity which was repaired by the COVID. Our taxes were in last year we had about 14 billion shortfall. So if you are forcing us not to borrow, forcing us to reduce taxes, you can't cut your tongue, eat it and be happy. Let us be very careful. We don't put ourselves in positions that will jeopardize the future of this country in terms of our economic stability. I think what we need to focus on is government should look at areas where they don't have strong correlation with our GDP growth and impact employment and cut down expenditure in these areas. But forcing government to arbitrarily reduce taxes because people do not understand the mechanization of our congested fiscal space is very dangerous.
So that's Stephen Amwa there, Dr. Stephen Amwa, a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, there interacting with my colleague Parker Wilson ahead of the budget presentation tomorrow. Subsequently, Parker will bring us more reactions and concerns raised by other members of Parliament. Now, I'll take you back to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, because new facts are emerging directly linking a KNUST lecturer to the disappearance of his wife. That's according to the state attorney prosecuting the case. On Tuesday, a Kumasi High Court denied a bail application for Dr. Wilberforce Agri, who has been accused of kidnapping his wife, Rodeling Amwa Daku, an employee of the Lands Commission. Ohiming Terrier of our security desk was in court for us and joins us with more. Ohiming, give us all the details.
Thank you, Emefa. I must say it was a packed court today as the counsel for Dr. Agri filed the application, bail application at the Kumasi High Court. Zone for last week, where the Asafra District Court, where the District Court denied the The defense counsel, led by lawyer Fred Ansam, said their client was prepared to deposit his passport at the court and also submit himself to whatever the bail condition may require of him. And then he argued that the continued detection of his client, police against his fundamental human rights and the offense of which he has been charged at this level. The attorney general's office also accused that it takes a fresh fact that links the lecturer to disappearance twice, and that if the court grants him bail, he will definitely interfere with the investigations and pray the court to deny the bail application. The High Court, presided by her ladyship, and denied the bill, said the offense is bailable, and the continued detection of the accused forms the court decision.
I mean, I'll plead with you to reposition yourself.
Come again, Emefa.
I'm asking if we now know where exactly Rodeling Amwa.
The bail application for the very first time, but friends of Rodeling who were in court said they want justice for her, whether she is alive or dead. They want to know, and so they will do everything possible within their powers.
My colleague Ohiming Terrier of our security desk with more on that. So, as it stands now, Dr. Wilberforce Agri running from court proceedings. This follows another letter written on behalf of Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbing, once again indicating that the MP is on parliamentary business abroad. This was disclosed by the magistrate Oheneba Kufo. Ms. Kufo's part indicates the MP is out of the country. The legislator is accused of unlawfully blocking public road and causing
informed the court that they were yet to hear from the MP or the Speaker of Parliament regarding Tuesday's proceedings. The magistrate did indicate that he had received a letter from the clerk on behalf of the Speaker communicating two issues. First, that Parliament was in session and that the MP was also out of the country on parliamentary duties. The magistrate said that this was a bit confusing as he doesn't understand whether he was attending to those parliamentary duties outside the country by way of Parliament's proceedings. But lawyer for the MP, Mr. Kojoga Dawodu, explained that it simply means that the MP was attending to parliamentary business outside the country.
My understanding is that Parliament has started proceedings. And whilst proceeding is going on, he is representing Parliament at a conference in the United States of America. So for me, I see it that it's just a continuation to say that Parliament is in session, and whilst it's in session, he has gone on parliamentary duties by attending a conference. Why not? You come back to Ghana. I've always insisted that Susu is not a coward. He doesn't even see that the parliamentary immunity is something that will not make him defend his right.
That's Victor Kojoga Adawudu there, ending Joseph Akable's report. We'll take a quick breather here on the Midday News. Here on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Swiss FM in Ho, Gaskier FM in Techiman, Jata FM in Karaga, and KTU Radio in Koforidua. Our top stories we've been engaging ahead of the presentation of the 2022 budget. We've been hearing from the Speaker of Parliament, who has warned he will not accept budgetary cuts and erratic releases of funds to the legislature. And when we return from the break, we have sports and then the latest on the National Science and Maths Quiz competition. All students of Keta Senior High School are hopeful winning this year's NSMQ will propel the building of a sea defense wall to save the area from being washed away by the sea.
We are pleading with those in authority to salvage the situation by giving the construction of the sea defense project the much needed priority.
Then we'll hear from defending champions Presec Legon as they begin title defense in style as they outclassed Ghana SHS and St. Mary's boys with a shattering 71-point win to progress to the quarterfinals.
You know we are in for the trophy. Our aim is Christ and our outcome is Christ. See, watch out for the seventh seal. The seventh seal is here. The seventh seal is here. Hello, Meneto, be there, be most go mad. And I
The 5th anniversary edition of the prestigious Ghana Energy Awards is here. The Energy Media Group, in partnership with GP Business Consultant, proudly presents yet another spectacular edition. Deserving companies and individuals will be honored in various categories of the awards. Under the auspices of the Ministry of Energy, its allied agencies, and the World Energy Council Ghana, the 2021 edition of the event is under the theme Digitalized Energy Sector, the key for a resilient economic future. It is happening live on Friday, 19 November at the Labadi Beach Hotel, 6:30 p.m. prompt. Guest of honor of the night, Honorable Minister of Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe. Industry partners, Volta River Authority, We Power Authority, Ghana Gas, Energy Commission, My Energy Technology, Sonun Asogli Power, Tulo Ghana, PURC, Goyle, CBOD, AOMC, Copec Ghana. Validation is done by Mazars Ghana. Media partners, Assassin Radio, Graphic, TV3, Joy FM, Sunny FM, Lizanne Photos, Energy Ghana. For ticket and sponsorship, send your inquiry on 055-930-0631. Ghana Energy Awards, redefining excellence.
Charlie, this festive season, because I choose sports action. I choose local drama where get plot twist. I choose world-class music. I choose romantic shows where they be. For kiddies, I choose cartoon shows where laughter and quade. Make you choose over 80 channels full of joyful entertainment. Choose DSTV for 169 Ghana cedis per AB Standard, the HD decoder, diskette, and 1 month DSTV access package all day long. DSTV, it's your moment.
It's Hollandia yogurt. A nourishing snack. Check. Vitality. Check. Taste. Check. Vitamins, calcium. Check. It's Hollandia yogurt. It's Hollandia yogurt. Hollandia yogurt.
Enjoy a nourishing boost of vitality with Hollandia yogurt. Available in strawberry and plain sweetened, fortified with vitamins A, B2, B12, and a source of calcium. Grab a pack of nourishment and level up. This advert is FDA approved.
On November 25th, 2021, leading government officials, C-level representatives, free zone experts, investment and promotion agencies, and delegates from 50 African countries will meet at the AFCFTA Secretariat in Accra for the 6th Annual African Economic Zone Organization (IZO) meeting. The annual meeting is being organized by IZO and the Ghana Free Zones Authority under the theme Connecting African Special Economic Zones (SEZS) to Global Value Chains (GVCS) in the era of the African Free Trade Area (AFCFTA). The event will be hosted at the African Continental Free Trade Secretariat in a hybrid format, rigorously respecting the health measures and the live virtual retransmission. The meeting will chart a path for maximizing free zone activities within the Africa Free Trade Area. Among those who will speak are Mrs. Angela Paulini Ellard, Deputy Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Lee Yong, Director General of UNIDO, His Excellency Mr. Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA Secretariat, Honorable Alan Kojo Trematin, Minister for Trade and Industry, His Excellency Ambassador Michael Aaron Okwe Jr., Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Free Zones Authority, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, President of the AFDB, and His Excellency Albert Muchanga, Commissioner for Trade and Industry of the African Union Commission, AUC. Institutional partners for the IZO 6th annual meeting include the African Development Bank Group, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Tangamed Agency, and the Oxford Business Group. Media partner is Joy Business.
Thanks for sticking with the best. Let's do sports now. Muftau, what do we have?
Since Asamoah got to the twilight of his career, Ghana has struggled to find a suitable replacement for the country's all-time goal scorer. Richmond Boache has been speaking to Joy Sports. He says, if there's no baby jet, there is baby magic.
I know a lot of people have been saying since Asamoah left, we need a striker and everything. So for me, this has been my dream to just be one of the strikers, but not to boast of anything, but to be one of the strikers who can help Ghana to score goals. Because as I said, if they have Baby Jet, then they have to have Boache Magic. That's my dream now. So I'm going to work hard towards it. I know a lot of people may agree, some people may not agree, but all the same, it's for the love of Ghana, and I wish everybody who love Ghana to also support and also pray, because the more we are able to have good strikers in our national team, the more Ghana will go forward. It's not only about me. There are people who are also thinking that after one of our great players, or the greatest striker in the national team, Samoa Gyan, most of the players are thinking they also want to take the mantle on them.
That is Boache Yadom. In the absence of Baby Jet,
We have Baby Magic.
Yes.
And
So
South Africa, have they filed finally?
we will need to follow up to cross-check where they filed, because they were supposed to do it today.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Muftau. Now, civil society groups campaigning for the absorption of childhood cancer treatment under the National Health Insurance Scheme have commended government for including these 4 cancers on the NHIS list. They also say that all other cancers affecting children must also be included on the list to reduce the burden on families and patients. It's time for the National Science and Maths Quiz. And this afternoon, all students of Keta Senior High School are hopeful winning this year's NSMQ will propel the building of a sea defense wall to save the institution from being washed away by the sea. Now, this follows massive destruction of some communities in the area by tidal waves. Now, speaking for the old student, Francis Kata said the existence of the school, which is one of the best in the Volta region, is threatened by the sea.
It poses an existential threat to us, because if the sea continues to eat our land, we are a few kilometers from the sea. So if nothing is done about it, very soon our existence will be no more, because it will ravage our school from existence and we will not be talked about anymore. We are 68 years. When the school was built, the school was far from the sea, but now we are few kilometers from the sea. So we are pleading with those in authority to salvage the situation by giving the construction of the sea defense project the much needed priority. We wanted to make a statement, and I believe through this contest, the scoreline, we have been able to make that much needed statement.
Well, so some old students of Keta, well, the contestants themselves are unhappy with their performance, insisting they could have done better. But let's focus on the Blue Magicians.
You know we are in for the trophy. Our aim is Christ and our outcome is Christ. See, watch out for the 7th seal. The 7th seal is here. The 7th seal is here. Hello,
And they began their title defense in the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz with a 71-point class act against Ghana SHS, Tamale and St. Mary's Boys. My colleague Manuel Cranting joins us from the KNUST auditorium. Manuel, give us all the details for today's contest.
So, Emefa, the Blue Magicians entered the contest, announcing their presence quite strongly. From the very first round, they began their lead. In the second round, they were leading with 48 points. And at the end of it all, 71 points had been bagged for Persec Legon. They say they are not here to only win, but they are here to have fun also.
But what happened to Aquinas yesterday?
Well, it was a terrible crash out for the Old Toms, because they fell at the mercy of the Green Boys from St. Augustine's. And at the end of the day, the St. Augustine's Boys, who were defending champions in 2020 but fell out to Accra Academy, this year they are back to redeem their glory.
Well, that's how Old Tom was cut to size, St. Thomas Aquinas. Well, as always, the broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Cowbell, Puppet Spitzer, Tampico, DBS Industries Limited, Kings Group Limited, U-Lesson, Ace Medical Insurance, Dole Yogurt, and Smart. It's time for Showbiz, Mafitso.
And in Showbiz, as we know, the Tourism Minister, Muhammad Awal, has pledged to make Ghana the most preferred tourist destination. While on Saturday, Marco Kwekumante, Deputy Tourism Minister, said we should tap into occasions like funerals to make Ghana the most preferred tourist destination.
1 week celebration of our own brother, Mr. Kusajiman's mom.
Yeah.
I think Dunkwa on offense. Yes. He saw the numbers.
Yeah.
So look at the cars here.
Yeah.
The fuel. This one we have to do funeral tourism. Then I said, boss, you're making sense. He says, yes, funeral tourism. So yeah, when they come, what are the sites around? So Akwesi started giving us all the names. Okay, good. So let's assume that it was some big man's funeral. I went for Asante Hine's mom's funeral.
Yeah.
And I saw the number of people that funeral to Kumasi. And I saw the culture display, the regalia, that and number circumstances. Whenever
So for more entertainment news, you can go to Joy Entertainment on Facebook and Instagram. Emefa.
And then also on myjoyonline.com, you can get more entertainment. Plus more, I sincerely apologize for the picture used for Sun winning at Keta, Afenyo marking. Also, nature of BEC timetable unfair to candidates Coalition of Concerned Teachers. Also, we're streaming live the NSMQ quarterfinals competition. And also, former Transport Minister Jifa Aku Ativo passes on. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And that's it for our show today. Of course, we have Living Word with Pastor Menzel Tabel coming up next. Please stay for it.